Guys, what is up? This is Matt Metagross coming at you with week 2 of the MLBA. Yep, that's right. Your Washington Redskitty are taking on Mega Oshawa and his Indiana Hyperspacers for this week's battle. Now, this week, since we actually do not have a divisional opponent, I'm going to show you guys my team builder because we don't have to do a rematch for this week, so I'm going to show you guys my thought process, how I went about building the team. So first, let's take a look at Osha's team. He has the Protean Greninja, Tapu Koko. Those first two picks, immediately massive threats. Then he goes Tyranitar, Excadrill, picked up sand, Delmise, Great Spinner, Espeon to block rocks. He's got, and other hazards for that matter, Passimian, Blissey, and finally the Scyther. That Scyther may sound like a meme pick, but week 1, he brought it and picked up 2 or 3 kills with it. And speaking of Osha's week 1, we're going to take a quick look and see what he did last week. If you haven't seen the battle between himself and the Utah Jazztrodon, I would suggest you check both of them out. Both very good content creators. But we can see that week 1, he chose to bring Blissey, Espeon, Protean Greninja, Scyther, getting the 3 kills with that, Tapu Koko, and the Tyranitar. So we can see immediately that he wants to bring very offensive teams. He does like having his backbone, which is his Tyranitar Blissey core right there. But he brought a very, very offensive team week 1. So keeping all those things in mind, and going back to his roster real quick, we're going to take a look at the team we brought for him. So the first thing we brought was my Jolteon. This thing is designed with max speed to speed tie with Tapu Koko, with Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, and Z Mudslap. And that may sound a little memey, but hear me out. Look at his electric resists. He has technically Protean Greninja if it goes for a spike, but we're not going to count that. Tapu Koko cannot take a Z Mudslap. Tyranitar is one of his more sped up Pokemons. That can't take a Z Mudslap. Drill, his probable switch into this. Z Mudslap destroys that. Delmise doesn't like the Shadow Ball. The only thing that really walls this is Blissey, but then I just Volt Switch out. So this thing is going to be a really good pivot and can just break his team if he's not ready for it. Next, Mega Blaziken has some fun this week. Now, we did have to pat the Jolly because I'm expecting him to have a Scarf Koko. And so I actually EV'd this thing to, at +2, outspeed a max speed Scarf Tapu Koko. Protect, High Jump Kick, Flare Blitz, Knockoff, just destroys him. He can't do anything about it. And look, Greninja probably can't even take the Flare Blitz, but then High Jump Kick just demolishes it. Koko, Flare Blitz, Tyranitar, High Jump Kick, Drill, either stab, Delmise, Flare Blitz, Espeon, Flare Blitz, Passimian, Flare Blitz, Blissey, High Jump Kick, Scyther, Flare Blitz. He cannot handle this Blaziken mid to late game. So this thing can either be a really good sweeper or can just destroy him and break him down mid-game. Next, we're going to take a look at my Dragonium Z Mence. Dragon Dance Outrage EQ sub. Now, why did I bring this set? Well, once again, his only Dragon Resists are that Koko and that Drill. The reason I brought 2 Z moves this week is because, realistically, depending on how he tries to play around my Jolteon, either A, he could just make it so I don't really bring my Jolteon in that often because there are certain variants of his team where I really don't want to. And more importantly, he might just let me Volt Switch. So if he does that, then there's no reason for me to ever pop Z ground. So I also brought the Dragonium Z here. Also gives me something to answer knockoffs a lot better than Jolteon. He really doesn't have anything that knockoff spams a whole lot, but Passimian usually runs knockoff, and what else here? There's something else that usually runs knockoff. Can't remember. I don't know, but it was mainly that Passimian usually wants to run knockoff, so that gives me a really good knockoff answer in this meds. Z Outrage just demolishes him. I mean, unless he goes hard Coco, he's done. Something drops. And sub is just because this meds forces a lot of switches. So if I don't know what he's going to switch into, click sub. Next, we're going to look at my Necrozma. Colberberry with Photon Geyser, SD, sub, Brick Break. This mon is just so strong against him. Holy smokes. So the speed is for a max speed Delmise, I believe. Yep, max speed Delmise. And then the 56 plus attack EVs, honestly, I didn't need any attack EVs just to destroy him. So I just went max HP and then threw the rest into attack just for a little extra power if I don't get that SD up. But honestly, if he gives me a chance to set up, my Necrozma just wins this match. Next, we're going to take a look at my Mamoswine. This is Rindoberry with EQ Ice Shard Stealth Rock. Did I say Ice Shard? EQ Icicle Crash Stealth Rock Ice Shard. This thing, once again, honestly, in my opinion, I have the matchup this week, which makes this a must-win. Because I've got a lot of mons right here that can just go to town on him, depending on what he brings. Realistically, his only switch into this Jolteon is his Blissey. If he brings the Blissey, I get into my Mega Blaziken, my Salamence, heck, maybe even my Necrozma for free. And then he brings things that can stop those mons. Like, well, he really doesn't have anything that can stop Mega Blaziken. But let's say he brings something like a Fizdef Drill or a Fizdef Tyranitar to handle the Salamence. Then Mamoswine goes to town. And if he's not, and on those sets, oh wait, the speed was for Tyranitar. That's what it was for. Because even if he does bring a very bulky squad, then my Necrozma's +2 Brick Break just destroys Tyranitar and Excadrill. So the whole concept of this team is whatever mon you leave behind, you're going to need and you're going to pay for not bringing. So looking at this, I mean, late game Ice Shard does work. Early game, I can lead this, set up rocks. Everything, almost every mon he switches out. The only thing I don't set up my rocks on would be a lead Gren, which I did see once in a mock, I believe. But outside of that lead Greninja, I stay in and I click rocks because the only way that he has to pressure me outside of that Greninja is grass moves. So I can either Oko or get free rocks on anything that tries to use a grass move on me, whether it's Delmise just going for a stab, whether it's Coco going for a grass knot, which is a big one. I can demolish the Coco. So thanks to the Rindoberry, he really cannot stop this Mamo if I play it right. And finally, Vaporeon, just standard Wish Pass. I mean, once again, all these mons can just do work against a team once their 1 to 2 checks are eliminated. So this will help me keep those mons healthy. Very straightforward Vaporeon set, but I didn't need anything complex just because the other 5 mons are doing so much work. So let's hop right into that battle, why don't we? So let's slow it down a little bit. And here we go. So leading off with the Mamo, just like I said, he's going to go with his Scyther, and he's going to U-turn. That reveals he's offensive Scarf. Once again, bringing that offensive Scyther. And I'm going to get up my Stealth Rocks. And being adamant, I'm going to pause right here. I have a roll in my favor to kill this Tyranitar if it's standard max HP with 132 defense, I think, is the standard set. he actually ended up being only 68 defense. However, he thought I was jolly, and therefore, basically, he EV'd this Tyranitar to take 99% max from a jolly Mamoswine, which made it a roll 68% in my favor to kill with Adamant. And I'm going to take the crit. And the crit itself, I don't think it actually mattered because of that roll being in my favor. But what that crit did do was put Osh on tilt. And you're going to see that throughout this entire game, we just kind of keep the momentum in our favor the entire time. So he's going to go straight into the Excadrill. And at this point, I know, yeah, he's in the sand. He's going to go for an Iron Head. Free Vaporeon. He sets up the sub, and I know I've got to Scald. I've got to break this sub at all costs. And he's going to SD as I do that. And here's where the whole match just turns drastically in my favor. I'm going to protect and catch his Z move. All of a sudden, his drill is in a world of hurt. Because he just lost the sand and he just burned his Z move. And he actually got a roll to kill me there. So, right there, it was a 50-50 roll on whether or not he killed. Arguably, I should have gone hard men's. However, if he went for a rock move predicting that could have been big time trouble for me. And realistically, looking at the team he brought, out of the two of the remaining members just destroy me on spot. So Vaporeon was the least useful member at this point, especially since he didn't bring that Blissey. So now I'm going to bring in my Blaziken and just go straight for Flare Blitz. I don't need to protect. This way I save my protect for next turn, just in case he happens to be happened to go hard Coco for some reason. When you don't need to protect, don't protect is kind of my mentality. And here, the burn actually kind of sucks. Luckily, he went for Rapid Spin, so it was only going to do 8% anyway. But yeah, that does kind of suck. And now I'm going to get the knockoff, and now I claim the kill. And here, I kind of had a brain fart. I'll admit it. I forgot Water Shuriken existed. But at the same time, it's not that big of a deal. Because he really did not have switch-ins at this point to my Jolteon set. So I'm going to go in, and with his ground type being gone, I'm just going to click Volt Switch. I could have Z-grounded right there, and I honestly really wanted to. But I figured if he decided he wanted to sack off his Scyther, then going for the Z-ground would have been detrimental. And I have my Rindo still intact on Mamo, so I claim a free kill at this point. So now he's going to go into his Scyther, which I thought was Scarf earlier, but the fact that he lives this, if I'm not mistaken, does reveal that he is a Violet. And now I'm going to go back into my Jolteon, and he's going to go for the Shuriken, not going to kill. I think he actually got 5 hits. Yeah, he got 5 hits. And so at this point, I'm thinking, oh wow, to take that Ice Shard, this Scyther had to be Violet, right? Well, after claiming the kill with my Jolteon, it turns out he actually was Scarf. So at this point, I'm just going to go into my Mence and claim the last kill. Because he's Scarfed into U-turn. He can't touch me. So that's GG to Osh. Really great game, man. It was a tough matchup for you, and honestly, the fact that I killed that Tar turn 1 was just massive. So great game, Osh. That puts us at 2-0 plus 7. really good record to be going into week 3 of the MLBA at. Next week, we're facing a name and the Utah Jazztrodon because I like jazz. And that's all I got, guys. Matt Metagross signing off.